In the last 5-6 weeks, we've got the metal panels onto the building. Did a lot of design work to reduce the number of elements on the exterior of the building to keep it really simple, so that the landscape in a way and the green roof become sort of almost more important, but by keeping the language of the architecture very simple. So clearly the metal panels, which are finished, some people are a little shocked at that, and that's what they're going to look like. They're actually a Cor-Ten, an alloy that rusts and uses the rust to create a protective layer over itself rather than flaking off. And we had one of the panels, sample panels, on there. Thing is, since then we've had basically no rain, so nothing's really rusting, which is fine. You know, I'm quite open to the organic nature of this process. But we made the first panel, made a few subtle alterations, which I don't think anyone would notice. And then we've run through and made all the other panels and fitted all of those right around the building. And we're also putting the parapet capping on. You can see just in this corner, still got a few little pieces to go on, just the finishing pieces. You can see in this corner and this edge here, there's this very fine welded metal capping over the top of the walls, which on one level it's been brilliant, because parapet cappings can get a little bit fussy because of the way they need to be fixed and waterproofed, and often it's a place that buildings get it wrong, in my opinion. They end up too deep, they end up too fussy, the material's not quite right. So I was really conscious of getting that little detail right. And it sounds like what you're talking about, but I think if you look closely at that corner of how crisp that junction is, you can see why it's worth taking the effort. And what we've actually managed to do is weld those cappings into place. So they are seamed, so there's a continuous welded steel section that runs right around the head of the building. They will rust over time, and I'm sort of open to potentially stopping that rusting process at some point. You can put sort of a product on to try and halt that rust process. But I'm sort of open to it, you know. I think what's lovely about using high quality organic materials like the stone, like the Cor-Ten, like, you know, a green roof, like planting, is that they change over time and they accept weathering and aging as a beneficial part of the design process, almost like a fine wine. Whereas I think a lot of architecture, a lot of materials like render, like certain claddings, they try and stop and fix time. They don't want to age, because as soon as they start to age, they look a bit grubby and sort of old, you know, grubby and like they're failing in some way. What I really like to do in my architecture, with our architecture in the practice and with this building, is to use materials that want to age. And as they age, they get more interesting. And that's very much what that steelwork is about. And I'm really pleased with it, basically. Gary, who I've been making with, is brilliant, and it's been so enjoyable. Although actually welding and fixing panels in 30-degree heat has had its challenges, but you know, it's been I'd rather do that in the pouring rain.